What's going on, guys? So I'm gonna just give you guys a quick rundown of some of the setups I'm watching for the week. We keep it pretty simple overall, but as you guys can see, I'm gonna start from a higher time frame, like the daily here on SPY, and even the weekly, right? Or the daily is a little bit more interesting, though, right? We had some uptrend, and we're starting to slow down around this 453 to 451 area. If I go to the 4 hour chart, you guys will see that 453 got rejected pretty aggressively. And as of right now, this 450 to 449, right? I'm gonna go to a 5 minute time frame. This was Friday's low. That held up pretty well, right? 450 to 449. Anything below that, I will be interested in going short down to 448. And you guys can see that 448 level is a pretty key level from back here. Caught a bounce over here, and then we have the a bounce over here, and we have the 4 hour 21 right here. So that is an area that could potentially bounce at. Anything below that, if we do show some strength to the downside, I will be interested in shorting all the way down to 446. And this is an area where we could potentially start to reverse back to the upside, right? For dip buys, I will be interested in this 446 area for calls. And if things get really, really weak, right, last area for calls is going to be this 444. But for the most part, I will just be scalping my way down if we do, or if we get any type of move up here, you guys can see the multiple rejections we have up here, right? I could even draw a zone right here of all the multiple rejections we have in this area, even like up here, right? Pretty much this area up here to up there. So I'll just keep eye up in this area, but below this area, right, 448 and 446, similar to Qs. If you go to the higher time frame, right, starting the 4 hour, I have this trend line here on the Qs where we have one touch up here, another touch here, and then this could potentially be the third touch. If this 375 to 374.4 level holds and starts to base out, I will be interested in calls here for a pushback up into 380 and 381. Anything, if this level loses, right, we have the 4 hour 21, we have some previous resistance that should turn to support here, right? So I'm looking at this area, right? Previous support back here as well, previous resistance. It's just a nice zone to pay attention to, 375, 374. Anything below this, it has room all the way down to 372 and 370, right? No bias this week. I am just going to be trading level to level. Anything in between, I will not be interested. For the upside, I need to see a break and retest or a reclaim of 380 to 381. As you guys can see, this was a level that, we failed to get above that level this week. We got rejected and we sold off. This is a nice area for potential rejections if we get there. And this is an area for potential bounces if we get here. Break and retest of either direction, just so you'll be fully prepared. Anything in between, not too interested on the Qs, right? So if I go to the daily chart here on Qs, if it breaks below that 374, room down to like 372. So keep an eye on that. Same thing with SPY, right? Last area, this potential area 446, right? Not only is it a resistance, but it has a daily 9 EMA in that area. So that could be a potential reversal area. So no bias, right? Just pay attention zone to zone. Apple 187, 186, potential bounce in this area. Or if it reclaims 190 to 191, really, this area, this could have room back up into 192. But I will more likely watch the bounce. As far as individual tickers, I'm liking Tesla as my top setup for a potential rejection around 450. You guys see on the daily time frame. We got a pretty bearish candle on Friday, a lot of selling pressure. And then we had this trend line right here, which is starting to, we got to see if this holds or not. So that is the main area I'm going to be paying attention to. If we get a break and retest below 242, I will be looking to short down to 237, which is a pretty solid move. Anything below that, 235 to 230. Now, if we get a pop up to the 250 area to 252 area, this looks like a good rejection area for Teslas. You guys can see, we got a push up, started to curl, fell to get above this 260 level. And then we sold off back below 250, 252, which was a support over here. That support should turn to resistance. That's why I would be looking for that as a rejection zone. And you guys can see we rejected, or notice how we bounce here and reject here multiple times. This is a good area for Tesla. I want to see if we have any confluences with a fib or anything, right? If I go from the recent high to recent low. We have the 0.5 retracement in there. It's not the retracement I look for rejections, but we do have the 4 hour 9, right? So anything on the daily, not on the daily yet. But so those are my scenarios, right? Reject around this area or break and retest below this area. If it starts to base out here, I'll most likely look for those first two setups I was talking about though. Meta. Meta looks pretty solid. You guys can see this whole area up here from 300 to 302, right? That whole area has been failing to get above. Every time we get up here, look at the type of rejection we get, right? We get a pretty big sell-off back down. We get a sell-off back down. So I will be looking for rejects up here. Unless we show strength, a break and retest above that will give us room to 305 and 310, right? Here we got AMD. AMD showed a lot more strength than everything else on the daily time frame. This looks pretty good. If we can get a break and retest above 110, or even this trend line right here, right? Yeah, like this 110, 111 area. I'd like a break and retest for a pushback up into the 114s. So that is something I'll pay attention to for AMD, right? Or any type of bounce around this 107, 105. It looks pretty good, right? So this is a relatively strong name. These other names are looking a bit weak, but like I said, SPY and Qs, I'm just waiting for these key areas to see the price action, to see how I'm going to react at those levels. Tesla's the weak name setup. AMD's a strong name setup, and Meta's a either or, whether we show weakness or strength at that 300 to 302 level. Pretty simple watch list overall. Other than that, Netflix looks really strong. Um, if it can reclaim like that 445 Friday's high, probably got room up to 450. Above 450, Netflix is really got room. So back into 460s. It's probably something to keep on watch. Google 134, 133 retest. Those first these are just side watches. Those first few names I named probably gonna be my main watches. Other than that, Firm and Lulu side watches as well, but I'm not really too interested in these as much. They are showing strength, but yeah, I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. I'm like just watch SPY and Qs just to get overall sentiment for the market. We do not have too much economic data this week other than Thursday. We got jobless claims Wednesday. Yeah, nothing too crazy. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, that's pretty much it for this Sunday watches. I hope you guys have a great trading week.